Thank you so much, Kabelo. Once again, happy Wednesday to all our participants. For those who are viewing the recording, thank you so much for taking the time to view the recording. And for our live participants, thank you so much for joining us once again. Thank you to Dr. Host and the team. Please note, dear participants, that there will be a question and answer session. And also, please please keep your microphones muted at all times. And then, without wasting time, I'll hand over to Dr. Hose, and keep your eyes on the chat as well, because more information will follow. Thank you.
It's really a team effort to start the session. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Yeah. Where do you start? But nevertheless, it's been a good tea break, and it was a good. It's good to see that we are part of a bigger picture, and we need to keep moving forward as well. And at that, all right. So now we continue. So we continue with the robotics competitions, and yesterday we introduced the virtual gear competition that is available on the M3 MOOC portal, and that's open till November. And then we introduced the Robothon, and the Robothon is going to be played on the 24th of September. And I probably need to get you a link for that one. I'll get you a link for tomorrow. Okay, and then it was the Conquesta, and I showed you the link for that, the Conquesta competition that's available on the Conquesta website. So, but it's usually run through school. So I think it'd be best if you're at a school, maybe to get your school registered, that they participate in maybe more than just robotics. Yeah. And with that said, I hope everybody's watched the More Than Robots movie. Yeah. Maybe we have that for discussion for next week as well. So, all right. So on that note, I'm going to introduce 3 more competitions, robotics competitions that are currently available in this country. And okay, so let's go through that. And then I'd love to hear your questions. I'd love to hear your comments, whether you participated in any of these competitions. And so I'm going to go into presentation mode now, and I'm kind of hoping that the rest of the team will then monitor the lobby. Okay. All right. It'll be great to have more people joining us, but now I can't see the lobby anymore. All right.
Don't worry about the lobby, Dr. House.
Okay. Can you see me? Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can see you and your presentation.
That's not actually what I wanted to ask, but yes. All right. Okay, so let's go from the beginning. There we go. Okay, and we're here. All right. So the main thrust of these competitions is the WRO and the FIRST competitions. And I must just say that both competitions have got a regional and a national and then an international aspect to it. Yeah. Let me just carry on first, and then I'll get to that. So whatever robotics competition you do, there has to be, to a greater or less extent, the engineering has to be explored, the programming has to be explored, and then you need to have some problem solving. So there needs to be some level of problem solving, and hopefully as a team, then the team will then develop and engage within the robotics competition. All right. But robotics competitions are kind of, that's what we do. That's what our whole year used to be like. And definitely before March 2020, our whole year was kind of planned out on competitions, and we added some. So we also added, there was a Techno Youth competition we added, and there was a Sasol Techno X competition that we added. So we were always adding competitions to give more learners access to the opportunity. And so our year was kind of virtual gear from January to May. Then we did WRO till about September, and then that kind of overlapped with First Lego League, and we played First Lego League from kind of August December, and then, you know, then up the Christmas tree, down the Christmas tree, and then we kind of started all over again. And through the years with competitions, there's been this progress of phenomenal learners who have participated, who have come back to mentor, who have come back to coach, who judge now with us, and who are part of the advisory on the judgment and the refereeing. So it is absolutely amazing to be able to work with these young people. And well, over 12 years, you see quite a lot of children pass through. But it's a play it forward model in these robotics competitions. So I need to say up front, if you're not bringing a team to a competition, there's always opportunity to volunteer. As you can see down here, this young gentleman, usually our students are, and there's Cabello as well, also volunteered. There's always opportunity to get involved in competitions, whether you have a team or not. And sometimes it's really good to volunteer. Sometimes you get a t-shirt depending on funding. You usually get a cup of tea. But to be part of this competition, it's amazing. All right, but then came COVID, and so most of the competitions then went remote. Some of them are going back hybrid now. We're still not sure whether we can just like open the doors and let's go. So we kind of are very cautious here about moving forward, but I think we'll get there. All right, so bear with me. Again, it's about robotics competitions. If you've got to ask any questions, please do. And at all times, there must be you must be able to see where's the engineering, where's the programming, where's the 21st century skills. And also, you'll see the different competitions need different levels of these things. There's somebody unmuted, though. Okay.
All right, don't worry about that, Dr. Hoos.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Please pay attention to your...
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. So I'm going to first talk about the World Robot, and I see it's not robotics, it's first World Robot Olympiad, WRO. You might notice that when you look at the videos on YouTube, many Asian countries, so you might not understand the language, but they are very keen and eager to share their amazing robots and what their robots can do, and they explain it well. But look what they are showing. Then the first Lego League competition, also lots of videos online. There's 3 categories: challenge, explore, and discover. Oh, let me just go back to World Robot Olympiad. There's also categories. They have zhushed up their categories, and I'm going to go through detailed now and explain it to you how they've done that, because now they've included a category for the We Do learners, for the grade 1, 2, and 3s, and they have kind of shaped an explorer category. So if your team is not really confident about entering into maybe their first competition, then there's a category for them too. So, and it's all about encouraging learners to participate. All right. And then the cherry on the top is the first tech challenge. I can say up front, it's not for the faint-hearted. It's a very different type of competition, but it's absolutely phenomenal. And I'll explain that as the third option for today. Okay. All right. And now I've got a cat crawling up over everything here. Just 1 minute here. Come, cat.
In the meantime, dear participants, if you have any questions, please write them in the chat. So as soon as Dr. Hoos is done, attend. Thank you so much.
Thanks for that. Now I've got a cat who wants to climb over everything here. All right. So the robotics kits and the programming for these competitions, the EV3 kit, you can either use the lab programming or the classroom programming, which is the Scratch version, or you can use your Spike Prime robot and then do programming with the Spike Prime programming. So that's kind of what you're using to enter these competitions. Of course, you will need a dedicated mentor and coach or visionary coach. You will need a bunch of learners who are enthusiastic. I can tell you that it's no fun for anybody if you have to drag kids to participate in a competition, and then it has to be fun and they have to enjoy it. They must want to do it. So kind of just put a disclaimer out here. Don't drag any learner to participate. If they don't want to, you're going to waste a lot of energy, rather than focus on kids that really, really want to participate. And yeah, I've had many times where my teams have reserves, because you're only allowed to register so many learners in a team. But I've had reserves. They're not officially on the team. They don't get any recognition. They don't get any medals, but they just want to be part of the action. And I remember, right in the beginning, there was a school. They used to bring 3 teams to a competition, and they always used to bring 3 more teams of cheerleaders. And so the cheerleader teams were just as much part of the action as the actual competing teams. And it gave those kids just an access to the robotics competitions. I wonder where all those kids are. All right. So the World Robot Olympiad, it used to be, looks like this. It used to look like regular open and then robotic soccer. And I think the girl with the hands on the thing, oh my word, where'd the robot go? I think that is just spot on. It is very stressful. The WRO competition is very stressful. Either your robot behaves or it doesn't, and you only have 3 attempts. But WRO has kind of morphed into something very different from what we knew it back then. All right. So I've given you this page because it's wrosa.co.za. So they've zhushed up their website. And so as of this afternoon, there's kind of 22 days and 9 hours and 36 minutes and 37 seconds before the registrations close. But it does look really good. And I think most of the questions are answered there. So how it works is that you have a team of 3 learners. And I think you have to understand that if you're doing 3 learners to a robotics kit, you have to have a sufficient number of robotics kits to pull this off. Okay, so the regular category has now become Robo Mission category. And that is usually where you have a mat and you have a whole list of tasks. You remember I told you in the previous session about problem solving. So this was where you get a whole lot of missions and you've got to solve the problems. The thing about Robot Mission is that the missions are kind of, the one depends on the other one. So it's really very, the one success leads on the other success. So it's not really independent missions, but we will maybe unpack, maybe we should unpack a WRO competition. Okay. So then, and then Robo Sports. So for many years, it just used to be robotic soccer, and we have in our hub, we have a soccer field. Got very dusty over the COVID times, but nonetheless, and it's soccer, and it's with goal boxes, and it's really, soccer is really a lot of fun, and maybe we'll have a soccer tournament one day. So then you've got the infrared in the ball, and you've got an infrared seeker on your robot, and then you've got the compass to keep your orientation, the ultrasonic to see how far you are from the fence, and there's kind of all kinds of color sensors as well to know where you are. But so they decided that the teams are getting too clever playing soccer, so now it's just called Robo Sports. And I think, and I must just check, I think the Robo Sports this year is tennis, and my team of my team of boys want to see whether they can figure this one out, but I'll keep you posted on that one. All right. Then the other category is Future Innovators. So Future Innovators is kind of like your open category, where you can, it's obviously got to be on a theme. And then the team has to present a design of a robot, and based obviously on the theme, and there'll be some judging. And so that used to be the open category, and now I would even say the teams could kind of double invest and say and it's a very good learning curve, is to say what you present here at Future Innovators, I am sure you could present maybe at a ESCOM Expo or a Science Expo. All right. So just keep that in mind, it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. Any of these competitions is a lot of work for the coaches, the mentors, and the team members. Okay. An interesting one is this Future Engineers. which is for the students to build a self-driving vehicles. And you know, it says there the challenge is currently a pilot. So I don't know whether they figured all that out, but it's there, and you know what happens with pilots? Pilots just become, yeah, pilots get modified and then they become de facto. All right. So the other one, and you can look under there, it says South African only challenges, and I should have actually scrolled up the page a little bit, but you've got the Explorer category, and the Explorer category is for learners who have not yet participated in any competition, and maybe it's just a kind of a little door on the side to get them into the competitions. All right, so that's the one category, and the other one is the We Do or Spike Essential category. So that's, and we had in the previous session was so where do the grades 1, 2, and 3 fit in? There they fit in. Okay, and I've actually ordered the mat. I do have the mat coming. There's a mat as well. And I think it's something about going to the beach or holiday on the beach or something. And so the robot's going to run all over the beach or something like that. But I'll get you all those details. But you see, so there is a category for everybody. All right. So there it is. There's all the details. If you go onto the website, you can choose. What is important is the overall theme is My Robot, My Friend. And yeah, it's an interesting topic, and it's presented on various levels. So it's very different, but it suggests that we actually stop fearing robots and start working with the robots. Okay, so the elementary category in My Robot, My Friend is called the Garden Robot, and if only. So I just took one page out of it. This is what the mat looks like. So you can buy the mats from, there's actually down the bottom there's actually a place where you can order the mats. And I have got these mats, so I'll probably show them to you maybe tomorrow. I'll show you in the session. So you've got it's all laid out. It tells you what you have to do, what you have to fetch, where you have to start, where you have to finish. And then what you also, to build all the pieces that belong on this, they will tell you you need an elements box, and it's a box, and now I'm looking for mine. It's a rather large box of Lego pieces, which you then use to build the elements on your field. I'll show you that just now, but it's got a really cool pieces. Okay, so that's elementary. For junior, it's called My Robot, My Friend, the Rescue Robot. So it's rescuing you, and it's all kinds of obstacles and the fire and the chemicals and the person, and you've got to rescue the people and put them where they have to be. But you see, that's all detailed in your robot mission spec. Okay, so further in this document, I think there's about 30 pages. It'll tell you what the game rules are and what you have to do and for what points. And so it's really good to understand what the rules are first and foremost, and then you apply your problem solving. Okay. And then this is a really cool one. It's My Robot, My Friend, the Care Robot. And so it's all about robots looking for you in hospital. And so yeah, it's the laundry and it's just all and doctors and patients. It's, if you look very carefully, you can kind of see over here, that's the hospital bed, there's the patient in the bed, and there's the patient in the bed, and you've got to put these pieces on it. So also a timed mission. I think this is 2.5 minutes. I speak under correction. They might have changed the timing, but you basically have 2.5 minutes to score as many points. And obviously that's what I was also talking to you about. You've got to have a strategy. Okay. For this, you have to have a strategy. You have to work together. You don't have much leverage in teamwork because you're only 3 of you, which means all the tighter for a strategy. You can't waste any time. Okay. Yeah, as usual, for the robot missions, you've got all these videos, and they're very cool, and they really want to share all their experiences. There's a lot of teams sharing experiences, which is really great. Okay. But just a reflection, just a time back, and I'm trying to think whether it was 2011 or 2012. Oh, it says there. It says there 2012. Sorry. Man, we had so much fun with this thing. And so this is what I'm going to bring to the hub as well as soon as we're back on campus. Basically, the tile, it's a whole table, and the color tiles are movable, so you can move them all over the place. And then what you had to do was the robot had to get from start to finish. And if it goes on, it's got to go over those 3-centimeter high barricades, and it's got to drop ping pong balls. If it's red, I think it's red, it drops 3 ping pong balls. And if it's blue, it pops 1. And if it's, man, did we have fun, because the ping pong balls kept popping all over the place. So, yeah. So how would you solve that problem? You just kind of go, move forward. You can only go 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. And then you've got to turn left. And then you've got to do 6. And then you've got to again turn. And so we will have to play this. But it was a lot of fun. You know what? It was very different. It was very different then. But I still think there's lots of learning to happen from this. Obviously, this was more difficult to create for everybody, because we all had to build our own. But WRO has come far. It started in South Africa in 2010, and I've participated every year. So, yeah, let's see what happens. It evolves, you know, it adapts to the learning, which is great. So this is a sports category. If you want to go and see WRO soccer, man, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, it had to have a compass on it, and it had to have a high-tech ultrasonic sensor on it, infrared sensor on it, because, and so maybe I've got all my soccer equipment here, so maybe we should have a round of soccer one weekend. There's an idea. Okay, but so we're going to go on to the next competition, but just reflect now. So WRO is 3 learners per team, okay, with a robot. Okay, and it's only about the robot and the robot performance. We're going to go now on to first Lego League. And for the challenge, there's 10 learners per team per robot. And there's a project, so there's more researching done, and you are evaluated on your teamwork. Okay, so WRO, there's no evaluation of a project or of teamwork in the Robo Missions category. And maybe I should have made a table of kind of compare apples with apples. But I think what's important is that both WRO and FIRST competitions are themed, and they have real world problems and issues. And so if you go and unpack all the themes over the last few years, you're also contributing to the learner's incidental learning. Okay. I remember there was one year we did Into Orbit, the robot that was the challenge. And the following year, a little 10-year-old told me with very proudly that he's actually studying to be an astronaut, because he took part in the Into Orbit competition last year, and he's learned so much, and he could tell me a whole lot of things. So, yeah, you just never know where this knowledge is going. And so the theme, the real world problem, is also there to develop a vocabulary and an awareness of the real world issue. All right. So moving on now, we come to the first competition. So you've got first Lego League, you've got the first challenge, you've got the first explore, and you've got the first discover. And so here we go again. I think it was Innocent who asked about where do our grades 1, 2, and 3 fit in. They fit in right here. Okay. So discover is grade R, usually grade R, or maybe grade 1s. That's not impossible. But we really encourage just problem solving, teamwork and problem solving. Okay. Whereas and so they are usually 4 in a team, but 2 teams of 4 work together on a resource called a STEAM park, which is a whole lot of really cool pieces. So in essence, 2 teams of 4 then share. Yeah. Okay. Then with explore, each team is usually about 5 to 6 members, depending on how big the class is, because we don't want to leave anybody behind. So each team has a tablet, each team has a WeDo set, and then each team gets a challenge box, or a explore box, as we call it. Okay. So, but they're programming and they're building and they are developing their teamwork skills. So by the time you come to first challenge, where you need a robotics kit, a laptop, and then you get your challenge box, your challenge kit. yeah, it's different. And now you have to think on a different level. You've got to strategize on a different level. So Cargo Connect was the season theme for it launched in August of last year. We have just finished our nationals on Saturday, and we are very chuffed that one of our teams has been invited to Rio de Janeiro to participate in the internationals. Yes, it was good to see people again. It was great to interact with the teams. And I mean, so inspired by the number of teams that have, through all these hard times, stuck together as a team and said, we'll do it. We'll get it done. Okay. But exciting news. Ta-da. So each team, sorry, just to come back to this, each team gets a medal. Each member of each team gets a medal for participation. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So each, and then that same theme then runs through each of the programs. So for grade 1, grade R and grade 1, you have to build a model to solve a problem, and then the learners need to be able to explain why. This is in Discover. Okay, they need to be able to explain it. Okay. We also use in the Discover program, we use the 6 bricks. And so if any of you are from ECD centers or grade R teachers, there is a gazillion activities with 6 bricks, and phenomenal in terms of digital skills and literary skills from the 6 bricks. UNICEF has a project running now with Care for Education, and every single learner will have a set of 6 bricks on their table once the program is rolled out, which is really exciting, and that every learner gets the 6 bricks. Okay. Then for Explore, we just move up and they actually have to program. So they've got to build something that can be programmed. So whether it's a crane that goes up or down, or an exercise machine that actually makes you exercise, or this year was a sorting machine that has a color sensor so it can sort things. But you need to be able to build a model that can be programmed, and you also need to have a model extension, kind of the context of your solution, and you need to have a show me poster, and the learners need to do that themselves. It's not for the coaches to do the poster. I was trying to find an example, but I think that was an example here of a show me poster where the learners are able to explain their interpretation of the theme and how it goes forward. Okay, so now we come to First Lego League Challenge, and this is some of the themes we've had. We've had Animal Allies, we've had World Class, we've had Trash Trek. The numbers kind of fit in your mind. So World Class was what we had at our Africa Open Championships in 2015. So it was the 2014 theme. With Trash Trek, we went, that was 2015's theme because we went overseas in 2016. So you start linking the themes to really amazing teams. Okay. But First Lego League Challenge requires a project and a robot and a teamwork. And at all times, there needs to be gracious professionalism. And this boils down to respect within your team, and respect for your coaches, respect for your mentors, respect for the world at large. And so that is where the gracious professionalism comes in. It's a tall order, and it's lots of work. All right. So good news, ta-da, launching this year on the 1st of August internationally, and hopefully we'll have our own launch probably on that Saturday, which will probably be the 6th of August. We'll have the Africa version of it, but it's called Superpowered, and it's Superpowered is it's not just energy, it's superpower. All right, so getting our superpower from the environment. Okay, so each theme, superpower theme, for Explore and Discover and Challenge, each has their own challenge, or so yeah, thing that they have to do, so they have to program. And I am really curious to see what it's going to be, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's just not the normal. It's about superpowers. One thing that bothers me though is that we've got a starting end here and a starting block here, and check it out. It's in the middle of our fields. So there's something going on here. I don't know what it is, but We'll all find out on the 1st of August. All right, so the cool thing is for the challenge, 10 learners in a team. Okay, and I would hasten to add, you need 2 adults. You need a coach and a mentor. To coach, and mentor to put everything together and to pick up the pieces when things go a little bit wrong. So every team of 10, up to 10 learners, I noticed that there are many smaller teams. I wouldn't go below 6 at the minimum. Don't put less than 6 learners in a team. It's a lot of work. All right. But you have 1 robotics kit and you have 1 laptop. And so you've got to build your robot, design and build it. And you've got to have a project to find a problem to solve and research it and present it. And then you have to have teamwork. So the cool thing that has kind of evolved in the last 2 or 3 years is called a team meeting guide. So it'll take you as the coach through the 12 sessions, session 1, session 2. It'll tell you exactly what you need to do, and your learners will have an engineering notebook, and so they will also know what they've got to fill in, what they've got to research, what data they've got to get. So it's 12 sessions, and I say sessions because it's not 12 days or 12 nights. It's 12 sessions. Sometimes you need to repeat sessions, and sometimes sessions require more than a day or more than 2 hours. But that depends where you are as your coach and where you are with your learners. Sometimes it takes a little longer. It's fine. But there are 12 sessions defined, and you have to do all 12 sessions. And it's very alarming when you come to a competition and then learners are like, no, we never did that. We don't know anything about that. Okay. All right. But I also need to add, and I saw it at Nationals again, it's a ongoing development. All right. New teams need to start somewhere. And it's very easy for a new team to come to a competition not with anything and say, nah, we're not going to do this. But you know what? A new team needs to take what they've learned and come back again next year with their reality and with their mentoring and with their coaching. And so every year, experience counts in your favor. Okay. And a team needs to have a strategy. So I've got that link there for you. If you want to go and have a look at one of the previous competitions, where you see there needs to be a strategy of roles and responsibilities, of getting things done, of running the robot, of doing the documents, of whatever it is. There needs to be ongoing development. And so 1 year, that's awesome. You've got to start somewhere, but you have this ongoing experience. Okay. There's also another thing. If you have a really strong team, obviously some learners are going to age out. So for you as a coach, you will need to make sure that the core keeps that keeps the knowledge, keeps the experience, and then you keep adding at the bottom, and obviously those that are older, and then you have a team that functions. It kind of has almost an ongoing way of doing things, and then the older ones then can mentor the younger ones, which is really ideal. But to start with a new team every year, it's going to be a lot of work. Right. Okay, so kind of to end off, I want to tell you about the first tech challenge, and it's very, 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 very different. Okay. It's not for the faint-hearted, and it's definitely for grade 8 upwards. There needs to be some level of maturity, because although you have to have mentoring of engineering and engineers from companies who've kind of walked the route, that is quite important. But your learners themselves need to be independent, working and for innovation. Because there's 3D cutting and there's laser printing and there's CAD designs and there's all kinds of really cool things. But it's not spoon feeding. All right. So if you want to design something, you've got to design it. If you want to cut it, you've got to cut it. If you want to, the biggest part of FTC is actually fundraising. It is incredibly expensive to have an FTC team. But then again, I come back to this thing is if you have a FTC team, a core of FTC team, eventually your older learners will come back and mentor the youngers, and you keep adding. So you keep your lessons learned in the team, and that's what you want. So if you look over here, there are always alliances. So you always have two teams, two red teams on this side and two blue teams on that side. But that also mixes up, okay? And then of course you have the referees in the stripy shirts. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4 robots, and you decide. Well, you don't decide. You doesn't decide for you. It gets allocated to you. So you are on competition day. You are in alliance with all the teams, and you are fighting, or you are playing against all the teams, and then obviously you find the alliances that work the best. Okay, but you can see the robots are huge in comparison. They're built of metal, like the old Meccano sets, but anything goes. You can use any materials on your robot, and if you want to be really inspired, go and watch FTC. Go and watch these robots. It is mind-blowing what can be done. Of course, and then it's remote controls, okay? So then if you have 3 players, you have to decide who's controlling what. So you can all kind of control the robot together. You just need to have really good communication. Otherwise, you're going to mess the whole thing up. Okay, so kind of there you go. There's also a robot. This is where they tested. This is a half field. They're kind of testing how to get this robot to push this into that or something like that. This is a different level of thinking, and I think the learners that do grades first Lego League first definitely are well away. All right. Okay. So again, my golden rule: please participate. Please, please, please participate. All right. And that is the end of my sharing. But I'm going to open it now. Are there any questions? Anybody want to ask anything?
Thank you so much, Dr. Host, for your presentation. I see KK just said on the chat box, good afternoon. Any software recommendation for Lego 3D printing? I figured you can use Lego Digital Designer or Studio for the drawing tools, but wondering if there is a software for 3D printing.
To 3D print?
That's what you're saying, yes.
Okay, but if you, I don't think for, I don't know, I don't think Lego Digital Designer you can print from that, but I will ask. Okay, let me find out.
All right.
Let me just find out. Let me just take your question and see whether I can find you an answer. Lego Digital Designer is used mostly for capturing designs, especially to reverse engineer it. So if you have a really cool attachment, then to kind of put that in, and then it'll generate the building instructions for you. I haven't heard that Lego Digital Designer will do 3D printing, but I will find out. Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. House and KK. If anyone of our online participants have questions, kindly please raise your hand or simply write on the chat box, and your question will certainly be attended to.
I can also just add that the World Robot Olympiad used to be that the learners used to have to build in 90 minutes, they had to actually build their robot. It is very stressful for coaches. So don't take it lightly if you're going to put a team into a competition. They've changed those rules now because the teams can arrive with their built robot. But the learners still need to put the robot down and do the missions and present their robot. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
Any questions from our online participants? Feel free to ask us a question, whether you're coming from a different province other than Gauteng. We still allow questions. Whether you're calling us from KZN, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, okay.
Go through all the provinces.
To ask us any questions or to write it on the chat box. Innocent, has your question been covered? Because on the previous session you had a question and it was mentioned that you're going to be covered. Are you covered now?
Innocent?
Feel free to unmute yourself, Innocent. Oh, I see.
Yes, I'm covered. I've seen the foundation face is also covered. Yeah, I'm happy now. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Innocent. I see Dorothy Mlambo from KZN has a question for us. Go ahead, Dorothy.
Hi, Patricia.
How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Good, good.
I didn't hear the other part, but I just heard KZN. If there are people from other provinces, you can say something. I'm just saying hello.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Dorothy.
Yes, thank you for the presentation, Patricia.
You're welcome.
Day by day,